2022 Smile was a game changer for big studio horror films, especially Paramount Pictures, who will be looking for another horror franchise after the success of The Quiet Place. After director Parker Finn, who won the Special Jury Award at 2020 South by Southwest Convention, with his horror short Laura Hasn't Slept, he was greenlit to write and direct an original horror feature to demonstrate if his success was a fluke. With a modest budget of US $17 million and using very successful viral marketing, people putting on creepy smiles during live broadcasts of sporting events, Finn created a 150-minute long horror feature in which a truly malevolent entity targeting fragile people with traumatic past, creating deathly hallucinations and sending victims into a downward spiral. And like an infection, it spread from victim to victim. The movie put audience in a constant state of unsettlement and fear and had a barrage of successful jump scares. And it seems like Parker had an ability to design plot lines and set pieces that were nuanced in terms of scaring audience, as well as uncovering the vulnerabilities of whoever watching as they were immersed in the fate of the characters. Raking a hefty $216 million, financial success was an understatement, and the movie also garnered positive reviews all around. It caught no one by surprise that Smile 2 was commissioned, and anticipation was rousing among the horror fandom, and everyone was curious on what was in store. The trailers of Smile 2 gave us a glimpse of Naomi Scott's character, Sky Riley, a pop star who was supposedly the next victim, and it was an interesting environment to see how the haunting would unravel for someone who is constantly surrounded by entourage. And after M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, it was another movie with a live concert being used as the location bearing a massive threat. A brilliantly crafted prologue to link the spread of the Smile haunting from the aftermath of the preceding film to the crazy ride we will embark on in this sequel. By sheer series of unfortunate events, Sky Riley was targeted as the next victim, and from the get-go, we knew that she had a storied past of trauma and mental issues, which proved to be an easy bait. We audience were indifferent at first towards a pop star's predicament, thinking that drinking pricey Voss water will quell some of the unexpected frights, and getting the best psychological help was the way to go. Eventually, it turned into empathy and finally sympathy towards Sky, who we knew was not a good person to begin with, but it was blatant she was trying her best to mend fences, and being in that kind of superstar environment, solitude was a commonplace, and to drown her pressure and problems, you could not fault her to indulge in those illicit items that led to the trauma. Imagine if she went to PDT's parties, it would be the real trauma. At a runtime of 127 minutes, director Finn Parker did not offer us a sliver of respite from the non-stop sequence of subtle scares and more terrifying jump scares. Even moments when Sky thought she could take a breather, it would be time for the most unexpected, scary manifestations. I want to highlight two instances that truly creeped me out. One involved Sky's best friend staying over and she got haunting. I was bracing for some form of manifestation, but what we got, which linked to her past trauma, and with the amplified sound effect, it really got me good. Another would be the most intense haunting Sky had in her penthouse apartment that involved a full scale of manifestations. Even though there was no visceral gore nor skin-crawling makeup effects, the collective movements and the frightening sudden appearances at every corner was messing with my psyche. I would term the trials and tribulations of Sky as a mindfuck for the audience who were witnessing what she had gone through. This is a tour de force for English singer-actress Naomi Scott, who came a long way from a budding child actress in Disney Channel to being the Pink Ranger in the Power Rangers, to assuming the role of Princess Jasmine in the live action of Aladdin, to now the mentally disturbed Sky. It was a tumultuous ride Sky had to endure for almost the entire length of the movie, aside from the prologue, and she maintained that manic state, and she dug deep to bring out the cathartic release as the madness kept escalating. As I highlighted, her portrayal of haughty pop star who was rebuilding her career after a life-claiming accident, there was very little redeeming quality from her at that point. Before we saw her being getting worn down by the tortures, you could not help but to sympathize with her. There was one specific part when she knew she was helpless, but she knew she could not be defeated, and it was up to her to stop all the scary hallucinations. In a year when we have the likes of Demi Moore, Lupita Nyong'o, Andra Day, and Willa Fitzgerald giving award-winning caliber performance in horror films, I would certainly place Naomi Scott slightly on the pinnacle of them all. She could really sing and move as well, even more so than Seleka Night Shyamalan in Trap. There was certainly a tongue-in-cheek with the singer Sky was patterning after with the flamboyant stage attires and dance style. It was not hard to associate her with one Lady Gaga. Before her car accident, in which she seems to be under some sort of addiction and being slightly obtrusive, she looked so much like Amy Winehouse. After casting Sosie Bacon in the first Smile movie, and having Ray Nicholson in the small but important role here, I wonder which famous celebrity offspring will be featured in the next sequel. Seeing the likes of Wyatt Russell, Margaret Qualley, and Louis Pullman featuring horror movies in this year alone, it might be an easy transition for these not-so-nepo babies to bigger projects in the future. Parker Finn's ability to create a scary set piece and keep audience in the constant state of uneasiness and fear of what to expect, I wonder if we could measure him up to the golden days of Tobe Hooper or Sam Raimi, or even the halcyon days of Hideo Nakata and his J-horror contemporaries. Finn also had an eye for memorable visuals like the blood smile from the prologue and the extreme body horrors that could outdo what he had concocted in the first film. The smoldering tension in that scene with Sky arguing with her boyfriend was brilliantly filmed as well. It was rumored that Finn will be doing a remake of Andrei Zulawski's Possession, which itself is a bit of a mindfuck, and I thought it's an ideal project for Finn to work upon after the Smile movies. Closing on the year 2024, I was catching up with some notable titles I have yet to watch. While more often than not it will be duds rather than hits, the likes of The Substance and now Smile 2 really propelled this year to a wondrous and bountiful year for the horror genre. Smile 2 is a clear 9 out of 10 from yours truly as well. Please like, sub and share, and hope you will enjoy the looking back of the year of the horror movies in 2024 as well as my top 10. My previous review was the equally amazing The Substance from director Coralie Fargeat. Don't miss it. As for now, I just got to be wary of people smiling creepily around me, but if it did happen, there was really nothing I could do.